Hello, I'm Charles Kovess, Australasia's passion provocateur. Welcome to this week's episode of the Charles Kovess Show. Whether you're watching on YouTube or Rumble or listening via one of the many podcast platforms, this is the place for you to be inspired to live a life of passion that is guided by your ever-increasing self-awareness of who you are and what and how you want your life to be. Passion is a source of unlimited energy from your soul, your spirit, your heart that enables you to produce extraordinary results, extraordinary, above ordinary, because when you are passionate, you're way above ordinary. One of the great quotes that I love is, greatness can only be achieved through passion. Now, there's some interesting things happening on the planet around May of 2026. I consider we are, and have been for some almost 6 years, no, more than 6 years, in World War III. The attacks on humanity come thick and fast by people with evil intent, by people in elite positions of evil intent, masquerading as wanting to do good for humanity. I assure you, as you probably well know, because that's why you watch this show, this is not true. So, being in World War III means that we need to have a particular mindset. And that's why this week's topic is on health. A couple of current affairs that are quite amusing, if they weren't so potentially deadly. The hantavirus nonsense, another fraud. It is laughable what these idiots in health are trying to claim of a brand new virus. So be afraid, be very afraid. They're masquerading in their protective outfits and listening on the radio. Even yesterday, an expert doctor comes on and says, oh, you might have the hantavirus and it won't show any symptoms and won't show any for 6 weeks. You have to be very careful, very vigilant. Total fraud, total crap. Laugh at it. We also have the nonsensical situation of courts upholding the rights of men who want to convert to being women to have rights to join all women groups. This is in the Australian legal system. Total BS, as is the whole diversity, equality, inclusion, and woke culture. All of these are attacks on logic and on reason, on what is sensible, on what is true. Your job is to understand that the governments of the world are colluding to confuse you. And when you understand that that's their game, to confuse you, you will no longer be confused. I promise you that's what happens, because you laugh at the nonsensical claims that are made rather than trying to make sense out of nonsense. You can't make sense out of nonsense. Our job is to keep looking for what is true, what is good, what is noble, and what feeds your soul. One of the challenges that I turned my mind to this week with President Trump visiting President Xi Jinping in China is, what is the truth about China? You see, it's even hard to find the truth in a full democracy. We never get the truth anyway. To then understand what's happening in China is enormously difficult. And one of the roles that I play is I moderate meetings twice a week of the Medical Doctors for COVID Ethics International. So I've moderated over 550 online meetings, and we've had 3 presentations that are on good grounds, on good research, strongly questioning the actual size of the Chinese population. And the evidence that's been presented at these meetings is the Chinese population is well under 800 million people. That with the attacks on the multiple child policies through the 70s with Mao Zedong, that it is not possible for China to have a population that is claimed of 1.4 billion or thereabouts. That's why all these cities that have been built are empty. So you then start to go, gosh, if this belief that we have, oh well, China and India are the two largest countries. Give us the evidence, China. That's one example of what we believe to be true that ain't necessarily so. And so in this World War III environment, your health is so crucial, because that your health increases your ability to cope, to thrive, to achieve what you want to achieve, to make your life what you want it to be. When you are unhealthy, your coping abilities reduce. So that's why I want to share 11 philosophies with you. 11 philosophies in a time of equivalent World War III, many challenges, many difficulties, and yet in the midst of it, you can choose to be happy. You can choose to enjoy your life. And I'm going to give you 11 ways to do that. So, health. What is health? What is your definition of health? Most people, if they're not sick, consider themselves healthy. And that, I say, is far from the truth. I urge you to think about what is your definition of health. And I'm going to give it to you now. My definition that I have found to be most useful, most true. If you haven't got a definition, embrace this. Health is the unique, optimal balance for you of mental, physical, and spiritual elements. You are made of mental, physical, spiritual elements. Your health is on a spectrum of 0 to 100 of optimal, unique balance. No one has your balance. And the question is, what is optimum for you of these three elements? Now, I'm talking about 11 health philosophies. So what is philosophy? I love making things as simple as possible, and to quote Albert Einstein, make things as simple as possible, but no simpler. Philosophy comes from two Greek words, philos and sophia. Philos is love, sophia is wisdom. Philosophy is the love of wisdom. So philosophies of health relate to the love becoming ever wiser about the topic of health. And these 11 philosophies will help you do just that. Now, I don't want this show to be too long, so I'm going to go through these quite quickly. I could spend 10 minutes on each of these, which would be a 110-minute show. I don't want to do that. I want to remind you of it. The show notes will remind you of these 11 philosophies, and hopefully that leads to you making decisions to change whatever needs to be changed in your assessment. So number one, who is responsible for your health? Clearly, the answer is you. You are responsible for your health. So the number one philosophy is to stand and say, I am responsible for my health, nobody else. And this puts you in control of your health. Do not delegate. Do not abrogate. Do not blame anybody else for your health. Once you accept responsibility for health, or indeed any part of your life, you are in control. You are no longer a victim. Philosophy number two. You've often heard it said that you are unique. Well, I want to reinforce that you are truly unique. And regular viewers of this show will realize that I, in fact, call each one of you a weirdo. But your body is unique, made up of trillions of cells that have never existed in that particular structure in history. And right now, out of 8.4 billion people, nobody has your body. Nobody has your soul. Nobody has your precise mind. You are truly unique. So the philosophy here is to embrace this idea that protocols for medicine and hospitals are nonsense when experts are looking at you, when you are thinking about you. Evidence-based medicine has no relationship to the precise requirements of your unique body. So your philosophy is, I need to understand what my health is about, my unique health. Stop looking for simple answers, because if you take the simple protocol answers, it's highly likely it won't work. They won't work for you. Philosophy number 3. Your conscious thoughts about your health matter. There is so much evidence that your thoughts drive the response of your genes, your genetic makeup, to create what your body needs or create harm in your body because you are giving those instructions. Your thoughts about your health, your thoughts about what you can become, your thoughts about what you can cure in your body, your thoughts about your body's ability to cure your body matter. And so the third philosophy is to understand this principle and therefore guard your thoughts about your health. Don't have sloppy thinking about your health. Philosophy number 4. Health is a matter of mental, physical, and spiritual. It is not just physical. If any one of mental, physical, and spiritual elements in your body are dramatically unwell, you would not call yourself healthy. If you are depressed, you would not call yourself healthy. If you are spiritually bereft, you would not consider yourself to be healthy. And understanding and paying attention to the mental, physical, and spiritual elements has another unique benefit, that it unleashes massive energy. And energy is a crucial factor in your body's ability to go back to homeostasis, to balance. Your body is constantly working to put you in a great state. And your attention to the mental, physical, and spiritual elements is crucial. That's why I do this show, to all 251 episodes and ongoing, to keep reminding you of the spiritual aspects of your life, the mental aspects of your life, the physical aspects, because when you are in great shape, great health, you can pursue your passion, which comes from your soul. Passion is a clue to who you truly are. But if you're unwell, you are greatly limited. Philosophy number 5. Discipline. Embrace discipline about your health. Mastery requires discipline. Because nobody has your body, you need to become the master of understanding your body. That will not happen without discipline. Interestingly, one of my core philosophies is that discipline leads to freedom. People think that being disciplined takes away your freedom. No, discipline gives you freedom. Discipline around freedom, discipline around your health frees you up because you become healthier. And healthy people are far freer than unhealthy people. And discipline in any area of your life makes you free. So embrace the discipline. Embrace the discipline of the philosophies that I'm sharing with you now. Embrace the discipline of the steps you need to take for your optimal, unique balance of mental, physical, and spiritual elements. Philosophy number 6. Have a deep, deep desire for optimal health. Don't just wish for optimal health, for wonderful health, for magnificent health. drive, a burning desire from your deep in your soul to be healthy, so that the discipline that's required becomes easy because you want to be healthy. And the way to drive this desire is to imagine what life would be like for you if you had magnificent health. What would your life be like? And then envisioning what that life is like, that's what fuels your desire. And your desire then enables your discipline to do what you know you should be doing for your unique body. Philosophy number 7. Reject the bullshit of Western thought that currently exists, that the good life is the easy life. This is so endemic in so many parts of life. If something is difficult, people say you're doing it incorrectly. The whole AI movement is all about make everything easy. I say to you that if your life is easy, it will destroy itself. It is difficulty and challenge and discipline that creates the good life. Anything that is good and worthy and noble requires hard work and discipline. And your rejection of the idea that if it's hard, I must be doing it wrong, then enables you not to walk around saying, gosh, I must be doing something wrong. Easiest way to examine this is to think about your achievements. If I had more time, I'd take you on a guided meditation. Say, what have you achieved in your life of which you are proud? And in every case, it will be something that's difficult, not easy. Difficult, overcoming difficult, that's what makes us feel good about ourselves. This idea that the easy, cushy life is the good life, bullshit. Do not be seduced by comfort and ease. Philosophy number 8. Your body is constantly renewing itself. So wherever you are today, in 1 year's time, you will have almost entirely a new physical body. That's why all these philosophies matter, because your renewal process, you are a whole new person in 1 year's time. This includes your brain as well. So when you understand this, you stop thinking that you're stuck with your body. No, you're not. You're going to have a new one every 12 months. Philosophy number 9. Find the best sources of information for your unique you. There are so many sources of information. The medical profession would have you believe that they are the masters of the universe in knowledge. No, most doctors are simply idiots with wonderful memories. Most. I think the 80-20 rule applies. 80% of doctors are simply following instructions of the medical system, of the pharmaceutical system. Your job is to, if you need a doctor, is to find doctors that understand mental, physical, and spiritual elements, understand that you are unique, and understand that their obligation is to understand their job is to understand your body so they can give you the best advice. But there are vast amounts of information about how to improve your health, and I want you to do a deep dive in the discipline is to keep learning about where those best sources of information are. And there are very misleading sources of information. So some sources of AI information are censored by pharmaceutical companies and the medical profession and the elites that I talked about earlier who are not interested in your health. I recommend that you visit the Health Ranger. I recommend that a core website that you visit is brightu.ai. That's Mike Adams' health site, which is not censored as in the ways that Big Pharma would want you to censor them. And you keep looking for good sources of information. You keep looking for health practitioners, not necessarily the medical profession. And indeed, after 73 years on the planet, I don't have a doctor. I go to many other sources of health information. Doctors are fantastic for treating trauma. If you have a car accident, if you're burnt, they are literally gods. But do not expect a doctor to understand how to make you healthy. I reject the ability of most doctors to do that. They're not trained to do that. They are official government-approved drug dispensing units. Philosophy number 10. Gosh, how quickly the time goes. I'm running out of time. Philosophy number 10. Be willing to change. Stop thinking or saying, I am who I am. At a very deep level, that's true. But at most people's lives level, this idea, I'm stuck with who I am, that is a nonsense. And some people unthinkingly say a leopard can't change its spots. That's true, but you aren't a leopard. You can change. Vast numbers of people do change. That's the whole point of education. And for 33 years I've been doing this work. When people get one crucial idea, and one of these 11 philosophies might just change your idea, when you change your thinking, you change your behavior, you have massive change. And the evidence is quite clear. You can change. You have to be willing to change. And as they say in the classics about change, and one of the reasons why it's beneficial to change is the world is changing, and they say that change is inevitable, and I add the rider, except from vending machines. Philosophy number 11. Invest your resources in your health, because, as I say, what's more important than your health? What's the point of having assets and then not using those assets to embrace the best possible methods, systems, treatments that will help you improve your health? I'll give you one example, hyperbaric oxygen therapy. It costs $300 per hour. People go, I can't afford it. Yes, you can, because if you had to have an operation that would cost you $50,000 to save your life, you would spend it. And you get resources. We build up resources not to hold on to them for the rest of our lives, but to use them to optimize our lives. Use your resources. Stop being penny pinching about taking the steps that you need to take to optimize your health. It is such a stupid decision to be having assets and then be worried that I've got to worry about my future when you're in poor health, because your coping ability enables you to generate more health. The whole idea of building up resources is like harvesting in the summer and autumn so you can survive through winter. Your asset flow should be like this, not like this. The superannuation industry, the retirement industry wants you to be worried about your future. I say, live for today. Live for today. Use your resources. If you've got a health problem, use your resources to solve your health problems so that you can thrive and cope with whatever is happening in World War III. So, one big tip. I was introduced recently to liquid oxygen. I'm finding it to be quite remarkable. The website is gotolife.com.au. Check it out. I'm always looking, as I recommend that you do, I'm always looking for new products, new processes, new treatments, new ideas. This is not a new idea, but it's new to me, and I've tried it, and it's making a remarkable difference. Look it up, see if you want to try it. Lastly, Buttonheart Bear has been sitting here. Buttonheart Bear, the link is in the show notes, is fighting for the freedom forever, it's the forever freedom movement of children who are trafficked for sex and slavery. Check out the Forever Freedom movement, check out Buttonheart, share the story of the horrors of children being trafficked for sex and slavery. So, if you take any of the steps I've suggested in this show, any of those steps will make a beneficial difference to your life, and that's the purpose of this show. And I hope you do something with these ideas. I believe your life is meant to be all that you are capable of making of it. So embrace this challenge of constantly developing your behavior, your thoughts, your commitment, your desire to living a magnificent life. If you're new to the show, check the links for our foundational principles and details about my background on the show notes. Please visit my website, charlescovest.com, where you'll find my books, lots of free resources, lots of inspiring material. Please subscribe to the show and share it with your family, friends, and work colleagues. Please subscribe if you haven't. It won't cost you anything other than a greater awareness of the value of passion in your life. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I look forward to seeing you next time. And in the meantime, live with passion, embrace being a weirdo, embrace the desire for ever-increasing self-awareness, and choose to enjoy the journey, the unique journey that you are on. Bye.